Welcome, boys and girls, to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, episode number 70. With our guest tonight is Mr. Paul Rowan himself from the Hall of Fame. Cousin Donnie, how you doing tonight, my man?
I'm great, Jim. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. Everything is good on my end. I got a couple hairs cut since I last seen you. I'm excited for tonight. What do you got behind you there, Jim? What's going on back there?
So this is an actual. Let me get out of the way. Actually, here, let me take the little captions off there so people can see. We have little banners that were donated to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. We thank them so much, but at the same time, these are for the Hall of Fame dinner that is coming up on October 26th.
Yep.
So
October 26th.
I think, yeah, and I know we're going to hear a ton about the Hall of Fame dinner tonight. I know we got Mr. Paul Rowan himself joining us, who is the president of the Hall of Fame. So a lot of awesome questions for him tonight, a lot of cool stuff going on. But we're going to have a little red carpet at the Hall of Fame. We're gonna have some fun with it.
That's right. Probably the best looking people at the event, hands down.
That's obvious.
That's a given, right? But at Drury Lane, October 26th, the annual Hall of Fame dinner. Pretty cool and excited for the event. You can go on the Hall of Fame website, 16-inch softball, halloffame.com, and then check out events, and then it's right there. You're going to have all kinds of memorabilia, merchandise there, all kinds of jerseys, jackets, memorabilia from our game is really cool. Just kind of looking at the photos now on the website, it's always a good time, and people look darn fancy there. So hopefully we fit in there.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's going to be cool. I mean, I know this is going to be one of your first ones I think you ever attended, if I'm correct.
Forever, yeah. First ever.
Yeah, I've been to probably about 5 of them over my career, and they're awesome. It's 400 or 500 people, usually tables packed, people having a good time, and it's just you get to kind of support a lot of the old timers in regards to, them having their big day getting into the Hall of Fame, and I think it's a really cool thing. And I know Paul's going to speak a little bit about some of the members getting in this year, which we're going to ask questions about. I know we've had Paul on before about how the selection was made.
Yeah.
We had Jeremy Lafrano on, who's a board member. We've been, I guess you want to say, promoting and helping and trying to do what we can for the Hall of Fame too. So, with the panel that we had last year, remember the panel we also did? I think that was
really cool. Yeah, we had all those guys on there and gave them a chance to kind of talk and spread their message. Yeah, for sure. That was really cool.
Yeah. So, just a lot of cool ideas. But I do want to, before we get to Paul, and I know Paul's in the green room right now, but I want to say hello to our supporters. I want to say hello to our guests that are joining the show. We have our boy, Mr. Drew Ladick. Welcome. We have Dan, Adam Cumby, Chris Johnson, Nick Dre, Justin Cano, and Tim Lindemann. So a lot of people joining, just hopping on now. It says there's about 15 other people that have just jumped on the feed. So that number's rising, as you can see.
Is Timmy Koronkowski watching the show tonight?
You know what? I asked Timmy if Timmy was going to be able to join us. and I don't think he can, unfortunately.
No,
We also have big Mix on the show.
I don't think
Bill,
he can access his Facebook at the moment for whatever reason.
Wags is on the show. Mr. Tom Mahalski on the show. Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. There's also William there. So we're getting a lot of people. But before we get there, and I know we're going to bring Paul on here in a couple minutes. You know, I had some awesome talks today with a lot of the 12-inch world. For those that don't know, that Rosmondo lost their first game or first or second game in the Major National to the I-57 squad.
An A team.
An A team. And then came back through the losers bracket and basically dominated everyone, had about 3 or 4 walk-offs also in that losers bracket to walk people off in the last inning, which was awesome, right? So I think congrats to Rosmondo on winning the 12-inch Major National. And I got to say they're the first team ever to win the 16-inch major and the 12-inch major. What do you think?
I think they are. 100% I think they are. I never heard of that before. I will say I was watching a lot of the live streams. It is super important in the 12-inch game to be the home team. I feel like if you're the home team, you have a huge advantage in that game to come back and win at any score.
Right.
So that was cool.
Some of those scores were like 35, 34.
It's unbelievable how those guys, when they want to hit a homer, they will.
Yep. So, Aunt Jenny just joined the show. So welcome, Aunt Jenny.
Hi, Aunt Jenny.
Ryan West, Jake Reynolds, Mart Leon. So we have guys joining left and right here. We're over. I know that people on Facebook can only see us on Facebook, but we're on multiple platforms. And so people are joining on multiple platforms. More and more people using YouTube as well. So I want to say thank you, folks. But
if there's any YouTube comments, I'll fly over there and see if anybody's on there. But go ahead.
So, I'm going to say I'm going to get Mr. Paul Rowan on. I know we have a list of questions we want to ask him about the Hall of Fame. This is the first time he has actually been on as a guest. We had him on briefly before to talk a little bit about, just kind of win the Hall of Fame, the ballots and certain things like that he announced, made some announcements. But this is the first time we've actually, I believe we had him on as the guest of the show. So I'm pumped. So how about you?
I'm pumped. I like Paul. He's a really, really nice guy, kind, always supportive of our show, tells us how much we're doing for the game. We appreciate folks like that kind of express how much they like our show and how much they appreciate the growth of the game. What up, Uncle Jimmy and Nephew Donnie? That's Peter Corral, who gave me some cool news before the show started that I might be able to coach a team for the Turkey Bowl this year at Harrison Park, which would be awesome for me to be able to coach. That's a big deal. I've been asking to do that for a couple of years, so that's pretty cool that I'll be out there coaching.
Nice. Your fame is on the rise. That's all I can say.
That's right. This is the height right here, the height of my fame. I mean, look at me. I'm in 2 banners behind you, and now I'm a coach of the Turkey Bowl.
Right. So, all right, let's get over to Paul Rowan. I don't want him to fall asleep on us in the green room. Let's get him on the show. Hold on a second.
It's not past my bedtime yet, guys.
Let's go. Paul, how are you, buddy?
Good. Everything's good. Good.
Well,
love the show. Glad to be on.
Yeah. Want to
glad
say
to have
welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. I know you've been on before as a brief little guest, but this is the first time where you're the main man. So Donnie and I have a lot of questions for you.
Hopefully you don't grill me too much. I don't want to have the power go out on my computer or
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of questions for you. So
once Jimmy gets going, there's no stopping, Paul. So you just be ready to hit that leave button whenever you want. It's on you.
Fire away.
So Paul, we start every show by asking and telling the guests, give us a background on who you are, what you did in softball, kind of maybe the teams you played on or how you got started in softball. And then also, kind of where you're at today with the Hall of Fame and just kind of, obviously everyone knows you're the president of the Hall of Fame, but, maybe give us a little background on what that is to kick us off.
Well, I'm going to take you way back to the 70s then, where you guys weren't even around. So I I played in a league in 8th grade at Beverly Park on the south side, and it was a grammar school league. And then played a couple years, and then after high school, a group of us got together, team called The Lot, played together for a couple years with them, and then another team called the Dukes. We played at Kennedy Park, Ridge Park, Beverly Park. And in '83, there was four guys. We were all playing on different teams, and we were doing very well in the neighborhood. We wanted to do better. We wanted to go play against the big guys. With all the stuff we read about and heard about. So we put together a team called the Ringers in '83, and that was our first year together. And we figured within a couple of years we grow. Well, our first year, those were the days of the Metro. We had to win a Metro to go to the Nationals. So we ended up in the Oaklawn Metro, and we beat Tahoe, who was a perennial national team for a long time. And we ended up going to the Nationals. And you know where our Nationals was in 1983, our first travel? Harvey, Illinois, Lou Boudreau Field.
Really?
Yeah. We didn't have to go far. And actually that year, one of our first games was against Holiday Inn, New York. They were a 12-inch team, because that was one of the teams that first came in when it switched to gloves and to the softball bats. So, we played together, the Ringers and I played together probably into the mid-'90s. We played in the neighborhood. We played all over. Went to nationals about 10 times, both A and major. The one year in '85, my pitcher, Timmy Danaher, he threw a perfect game against the Stickmen in Marshalltown. And we might have gone a little further that year, but a couple guys celebrated his perfect game more than Timmy did. So that hurt us the next day. But so I played on, and I played in a Holy Name League over here with St. Bernadette's, and I played and organized other teams that played in like a team that won the Sun Times tournament one year. We won that tournament, and I just kept putting teams together to play. And 2001, I had a hip replacement, and came back, and then 2008. After the second hip replacement, I could still swing the bat, but I just couldn't run. So I kind of stopped. But going back to my organizing days, in '85, we ran a tournament to raise money for the Ringers so we could go to the Nationals. So that was the first year that the Best of Western tournament started.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that was why it started. And the original premise was you had to be sponsored by a bar from Western Avenue to play in the tournament. And at that time, there were 19 bars from 99th to 119th. So you were king of Western Avenue for a year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was a good premise. And then a few years in, we opened up a women's division, and more teams wanted to get in. So we kind of dropped that you had to be sponsored by a bar, because we wanted to keep the game going. So since 2008, I was inducted in 2005 as an organizer. And then 2010, I got on the board. And then 3 years ago, I was named president of the Hall of Fame. I was elected president of the Hall of Fame. And it's the role of the president of the Hall of Fame is basically, we got a team of people, okay, about 18 people. But the role of my main role is to keep them organized, keep promoting the game, but also to raise money. I mean,
right.
We got to, it costs about $20,000 a year to keep the museum open and update stuff and things like that. So, we got a couple of events, our golf outing, our inductee day, and this dinner are our big events. But as far as that, and then it's also organizing the committees and trying to get the right people in charge, and trying to bring on new board members that kind of fit the mold of what we need to do. And very honestly, and I've said it, and our board knows that our board is an older board. You
Right.
know, I'm 68 and I'm the president, and I'm one of the young guys.
Right.
Just kidding.
So-
We've got some good guys, but we're looking to add some more.
Yeah. So
I
Paul,
love
I
that.
think as you go through your accomplishments there about the game, you forgot the biggest one of them all. You know what that is? You're a guest on the Uncle Jimmy. and Cousin Donnie
Well,
show.
you know what? And I can announce that the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show is the official live stream and interviewers for
Yes.
this year's Hall of Fame dinner. So
How cool is that?
I'm glad to be there. I'm glad to be on your show, and we're excited to have you guys be our official live stream.
Yes,
That's
we
great.
definitely appreciate it. I know Donnie's a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, but we're gonna get him through the night. All right.
Oh, you'll
Yeah.
be fine. I tell you what, you're going to hear a lot of stories, man.
Oh yeah.
A lot of good old stories. That's the best part about the dinner is just like the teams that get in. Some of the teams got 4 or 5 tables. They got 40, 50 guys that they played with over the years. There's
Wow.
one group who has 4 generations of their family has played and is still playing. So it's pretty neat. I tell you, my job is as Hall of Fame president. It's kind of difficult because I'm asking people for money. I'm asking other people to do things. The best part of my job is inductee night when I get to give these. First is the call. When I get to call them, man, is it good. And
Yeah,
then,
cool.
The 26th on stage, I tell you that it's so exciting. It's emotional for a lot of these people that get in. They never expected it, and whoever thought? Back in the day, in 1970 when I started playing, there was no Hall of Fame. It was
Right.
just a bunch of softball players playing.
Sure. It's an accumulation. It's an accumulation of your accomplishments, right? And it's a hobby for some, and it's very serious for other people. And to make it into the Hall of Fame is an end goal for anybody that plays, right? I mean, it's such a cool event, and pumped to be out there. And here's a good comment from Greg Mara. Says Paul is a class act. Treated our CJ's team with nothing but respect when we were inducted. Matt Pekka says, Paul, you're awesome. Thank you for everything you do for this game. So really good support coming in for you. Some really nice comments. Jake Reynolds wants to know who your least favorite player is in softball. We can get to that if you if you feel as if you want to answer that. We'll leave that up.
He doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Paul, I think I know the answer, but that being said, I also put a comment out there for all the fans about asking questions that they want to hear from you.
Yeah.
It's not often that some of the players get to speak to you or even have those conversations with you. So I think it's pretty cool to have your time tonight. And I put some questions out there. So we're going to be having the fans ask questions tonight as Donnie and I ask questions to you as well. So the next question, really quick, before Donnie gets to his first question, is from Roberto. And he says, Paul, what is your favorite current team? Well, that's an obvious question. Whatever team I play on, right, Paul?
Well, that would be it. Yeah, that would be it.
Paul, what team does Jimmy play for?
Pardon me?
What team does Jimmy play for?
You don't even know.
The 45s now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, you watched the show. Wonderful.
I follow the rumors, man. I follow the rumors.
You watch his rumor mill. That's great.
Yeah. Paul knows.
I don't know who my favorite team is right now. I like the young and up and coming teams.
Yeah.
I like to see them coming up. The older established teams, you kind of know where they're at. I kind of like I'm an underdog guy. I like to watch those teams come up, and and I'm sure you'll talk later about major and stuff like that. But nobody becomes a major player right away. Nobody comes a major player right away. Everybody's a park player when they first play. Mm-hmm. And unless they get spotted by somebody and gets picked up, they're going to be a park player or a Holy Name League player or whatever player and enjoy it all their life.
Donnie's still a park player. Donnie's still playing in all those parks.
I play in every park I can.
Yes,
That's it.
That's
it.
how we all started, though. That's how
Oh, you
everyone
got to.
started.
You got to.
So, Donnie, go ahead with your first question.
Yeah, my first question. What was the emotion kind of like for you, Paul, when you first were named kind of the head of the Hall of Fame, and it's such a great title for you to have. What was that day like for you? Do you kind of remember that event and remember where you were when that happened? Can you talk about the emotions you had when you got that title?
Yeah, it was a full board meeting. It was an in-person board meeting, and I mean, we had to put in a bio and and everything to be on there and see. And I was excited for it. I was excited not only to grow the Hall of Fame, but to grow the game of softball. And to me, the Hall of Fame is we need the game of softball to grow in order for the Hall of Fame to continue. And
Yes.
if the game doesn't continue, then we got a Hall of Fame with a bunch of old guys, sitting around on Saturday, which are good guys. I enjoy them, but we want the younger kids to come up and be enthused about the game. And I think that's one thing we got to work on. We got to work on that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Jimmy's got that lined up for you. How do we improve that? But yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that. But such a cool moment for yourself. I'm sure you were pumped about it. So just wanted to hear that.
It was pretty exciting.
For sure. I can't imagine. Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm excited every day about it. It's tough. Like this time of year is a little tough. Voting days are tough. The ballots are tough. But like I said, in the 10 days or less, it's going to be just a fantastic night. And, people like me that night. So it's kind of nice. They like me a couple times. I get liked a couple times a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the one thing I want to ask you, Paul, and I want you to be truthful to the answer is, I would like to see you more come out to some of the major events as time goes on. And I know you're doing a lot of things at the younger ages with the park districts and, like you mentioned, the Best of Western and Mount Greenwood and kind of that underdog mentality. I have seen you more now at the major events over the last couple of years, but my question to you is what is your plan next year with some of the major events? Are you going to plan on attending those major events and just be more present at some of those so we can get to, just get some more feedback to you from some of the other players and just kind of build some of those other relationships maybe that you don't currently have now? I mean, what's your future look like for your current role?
Well, I mean, I'm always reaching out and I'm always available to anybody. I try and walk around whatever park I'm at, and I try and attend as many events as possible. But very honestly, I haven't been welcomed at a lot.
Yeah.
So, I don't go where I'm not welcome. I enjoy what I do. I think I'm pretty good at what I do, and I'm not biased. I'm not biased against anybody, and if whoever thinks so, then they don't know me at all.
Right.
I don't favor any association over the other association. Matter of fact, I'm working currently with the NSA in Indiana, trying to get a 16-inch tournament in Indiana as a joint venture. So I don't care. I care about the game of softball. I love going out watching guys that I knew and are still playing, and then I like going out watching the younger teams who are trying to take that next step.
Right.
But it doesn't stop me. I mean, I was out at Westchester this year. I was out at the SSA Nationals. I do get to spend a little time with my family and on the golf course, so I kind of work around that.
Which I'm still trying to get out to. I know we were close, and then we had Mr. Bradle and Matt Dozen bail on us last minute. But
okay, I got a 2:40 tee time this Friday, so let me know.
I'll be there.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I would love to, but unfortunately I have 3 little kids I got to take care of and watch.
Is your son still playing football on Sundays?
He is. His last game is this Sunday coming up.
Awesome.
So
See, and
he's got a
I
goal.
got an afternoon tea time there too. What time does he play?
I think it's 10 or 11 in the morning. So
Oh, maybe he can come up.
yeah.
Paul is just the guy for tea times. We had a really cool comment just come in, Jim, from Joel. He said Mago's Styling Cave wants to pay for 5 guys for the Winter Dome tournament. So a little bit of a sponsorship from Joel, which is really cool to see from him in the comments, Jim, if you want to give him a quick shout out.
Yeah. So I think what Joel was
Awesome.
talking about, Paul, is we're putting a fundraiser tournament together December 13th at the GoPro Sports Dome out in Shorewood. And what we're doing is we're going to pick a charity to donate the money to that we raise for the event. My goal is to try to get above 80 players. We capped it at 96. And what we would like to do is have 10 players per team on each thing. And we're going to divide up 8 pitchers. So that way one team is not loaded with 8 pitchers. So those 8 pitchers will be the captains of those teams, or just spread out, and whoever runs the team. That's fine. We're not going to pick or choose, but that's how we're going to do it. And we're going to play. We're going to start at 7 p.m. December 13th. And so what Joel is saying is he's going to sponsor 5 of those players to get into that tournament. So last I checked, we're at 36 players already. And it's only been what, Donnie? We opened it last Thursday.
Yeah,
so
not even a week.
We're almost halfway there to fielding a team. I did have some lady that I've never met before, have no idea who she is. She called me and said she wants to put a team of 12 in the tournament. And so I told her, I will get back to her here in the next week or two. And if I do that, well, then I would just cap it at like 70, right? 77, something like that. So, and allow that team to get in. I don't know who it is. I can't imagine. It's got to be someone I've never heard of, but it's always good for the game to get new blood in, right? So, but
so is it Jimmy? Is it a draft? Is it a draft tournament?
Yeah, we're gonna do the spin of the wheel. We're just gonna do like 2 seconds, hit the button, 2 seconds, it lands on a player. That player gets drafted to a team. 2 seconds, boom. So Donnie and I are gonna do it live, probably the first or second week of December before the tournament, and and everyone will be able to show up and know who's on their team and so on. So it's going to take a little bit of organizing. I'm not necessarily sure how we're going to do it yet, but that's, that is the plan, and we're going to go forward with it. But that date is December 13th. It is the first, I believe, Friday, or second Friday in December, if I'm correct.
And what time is it starting at?
It's going to start at 7 p.m. And so we'll run, the bar will be open so people can come out, eat dinner, hang out in the bar when they're not playing, and then obviously go back into the bar. So thank you, Joel. He's obviously going to bed, so thank you so much for that as well. But back to you, Paul. My next question for you before Donnie gets to his, and it really comes from the standpoint of, we bring up, you being more visible at major events and so on. How can you mentioned fundraise for the Hall of Fame, and you mentioned kind of raising money and doing those things. I know associations do that. I know teams have to do that. So I know there's a lot of opportunities, but how could we do something where the players are giving back to the Hall of Fame on a yearly basis?
We've reached out and I sent a letter out to recently, an email out to probably 5 or 6 years of the past inductees, and that's kind of a problem we have, is that in my mind, you're in the Hall of Fame, you're a Hall of Famer for life, and so you should be part of it. I mean, you look at the NFL, they're Hall of Fame. You look at the MLB, they're a Hall of Fame. You look at the Heisman Trophy. All these people, previous inductees, are there to welcome you, and that's what ours seems to be, not with everybody, but a lot of one and done, so we're not keeping them coming every year. And I don't know why. I've reached out, and, I reach out to everybody every year and try and touch base with them. But that is one thing we have to do is we have to get people who've been inducted before previous, especially teams. I mean, you get 30 or 40. Well, you don't have to bring your whole team the next year or something. Bring 4 or 5 guys. Just come on out and celebrate the next group of people that you got in. There was a bunch of people there for you. You be there for the next guy, and that to me is a big thing that we're shooting to do. And
So
we'll see.
What if somehow Donnie and I can organize a QR code to basically have every player donate $5 to the Hall of Fame, and that $5 would probably add up to thousands if I had to guess. I think that'd be a pretty cool vesture for the guys that are currently playing today. Hey, I mean, even if we raised $1,000 from a $5 QR code and all the players actually did it,
Right.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Something that, every year it's a $5 fee to basically play 16-inch softball. And if you can't pay $5, right? I mean, come on.
Right. And these are guys that, hopefully some of them are going to be Hall of Famers down the road, them, their teams or whatever, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, currently I'll talk to you about it. And there's a few other people I want to talk to about it. We're entering a new era. So our last era is 1990 to 2005. And then it's 2005 to present currently, I think.
Right.
Or 2010 to present. I got to check the new nomination form. But from 2010 on, I need to put a committee together of current people that are playing to come up with new criteria.
Right.
Because we don't want to water down the Hall of Fame, but we want to come up with good criteria. There's no more classics down at Grant Park. There's no more Blue Island League. There's no more Mount Prospect League. So now our leagues are shrinking, and there's not enough major tournaments. So I'm looking to put together a committee of maybe 5 to 10 guys to come up with some good criteria that's going to set the stage going forward. Because, I'm not going to be the next guy there. I mean, I'll stick around for as long as I can, but, you guys are the ones that are going to be basically determining, okay, what makes this guy a Hall of Famer? What makes him heads above? And our criteria is pretty strict. I mean, you got to play at least
on the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. That's got to be on the list there of things, the accolades for sure.
Yeah, because for one, you got to play for 20 years. You've got to have played in so many nationals. You had to have been named to so many All-American teams. Your team has had to finish so high in the top 5 or so many times. So it's not an easy criteria to get in as a player. But going forward, we don't have that from 2010 on, when all these leagues started dropping down. So we've got to work together, and I'm hoping people will jump in.
Well, I would love to be able to have that panel, or if Donnie and I are a part of that panel, we'd love to do it live on the show and give the support and give ideas from the players, right, of what those would look like. I think, it's something that we can discuss offline, but at the same time, I think that's an awesome thing to hear as someone who's played 20 years, and to someone like Donnie, who has been, just kind of starting his career in softball. Sure. You really get both sides. And I think, to your point, those are the things that we have to think of outside the box, because the game is different today than what it is 15 years ago. And that's been my biggest ripe, and the biggest, outspoken thing I've been bringing up is that we have to change today's game, and we can't do the same shit week over week. Chris Guerin last week was on the show, and he made an unbelievable ideas and unbelievable comments about how tournaments should be different every time we play at a major event. It should be, the format of the tournament should be different. And I really liked what he had to say, because he's right. and maybe more people would be interested in those tournaments to play in those tournaments if there were different formats and it wasn't the same shit every week where you're going to play a double elimination tournament every time 5 times a year. It's just, to me, it's, to his point, it's stale, and to Donnie's point, he's just getting into it, so he doesn't know any different. But I think the guys his age are less and less than what it was 20 years ago when I started. There's less kids at 25, 26, 27 playing major softball than it was 15, 20 years ago. So, and I think that has to do with it, the staleness of the game. And we're not adapting to the culture, of what's out there in America today. And that's what needs to happen. And so, Donnie, I know you got something on your mind there, so go ahead and fire away.
There's always something on my mind, Jim, whether it's good or bad. It's, we've got some really good comments coming in. Ron Kubicki just asked Paul about the tournament in San Diego a few weeks ago that the Hall of Fame was part of. Paul, do you want to chat about that really quick?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Brief rundown.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We had 7 teams. March from Chicago, and the rest were all California guys, and 1 team from Yuma. And none of them really play a lot of 16-inch. They played 12-inch, and they play with gloves, but they were excited to play. And again, it was a good deal. It was pool play, 3 games, and then single elimination after that. We started at 9 in the morning. We were done. The championship game was at 4:30. And with that many teams. So, and we had 4 diamonds. We only needed 3 most of the day, but everybody enjoyed themselves, and it was a great atmosphere. The park was pretty cool that we were at. And, I think, there's a lot of enthusiasm for the game all over. It's just at different levels. We're finding people out in Oregon, that are playing now. There's a big tournament out there all the time, and I'm trying to reach out to these people because, I want to get them here. I want to get them here. I want to get them here where they don't think that they're on a uneven playing field,
right?
Which I think is what they think if they're coming here. I think we have to move. We have to move the Nationals to different venues. I think we've got to go to Iowa. I think we got to go to Wisconsin, Indiana, other places, because also then the guys get away too. We used to love to go to Marshalltown or when Indianapolis for a weekend. Arizona. Some of those might get a little too tough because those get to be pretty expensive for a full team and wives and family and stuff. But a road trip to Indiana or Michigan, there's a lot of fields out there. There's a lot of fields out there, and I think it'll create interest in the game. Is what it'll do.
That's part of the discussion we had last week with Chris was having tournaments in different spots because, like Jimmy said, it gets stale, right? It gets repetitive. If we can venture out and play in new places, that's just going to make people excited to play in different tournaments. In my opinion, I think it's a great outlet for getting out and playing different spots is so fun, and you get to experience different places. Oh yeah, we did play there. We did go out there. I went to Marshalltown this year for the first time with Jim, and it was like, oh, you went to Marshalltown? That's cool. And it was like, yeah, it was awesome. So just having to, say that you did that is pretty cool. Robbie Gersano said he played A Nationals in South Dakota his first year playing.
Right.
So it's cool to be able to move around and talk like that. I think that's pretty special.
Well, and you know what, it opens it up to, I know there'll be some people who say, well, the Iowa guys or whatever, they play with gloves. The Iowa guys play ball, man.
Yeah.
They play ball with or without gloves. They're good ball players, and they come to play here all the time. I don't think we don't go enough there as a group, a couple teams here and there, but as a group, we don't go there, and I think we have to open that up. You have one of my thoughts was, that new, what's his name? Who used to be with the White Sox?
Lopez?
No.
Bobby Lopez?
No. The Big Hurt.
Oh, Frank Thomas.
Isn't he the one who bought the Field of Dreams in the new Field of Dreams that they're building in Iowa? It's a big complex.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big complex that they're doing. And I said to the Iowa guys, do a border clash. 4 or 5 top teams from Illinois, 4 or 5 teams from Iowa, and go out there to the Field of Dreams and play. Different things to do.
Yeah. To your point, Paul, I got a call. I was on the phone today with Travis Clark. He's the pitcher of Resmondo.
Yes.
And he basically told me about the game. Come back to other cities. He said he got approached so much about coming to play 16-inch major softball. He couldn't believe it, that other teams in 12-inch and other players and people, he said it was incredible. And people were asking, like, how was the game? Was it easy? Was it hard? How were the players? And, they had nothing but good things to say, which I think is awesome, right?
Right.
I could really see us growing at that major level of getting more top competitive teams. And that's why I think, like, if the Yuma style format is awesome, right? Of what they do with the Memorial Day weekend, how they play the round robin, and then they play a single elimination on Sunday.
Right.
Those type of formats are awesome because it's going to create more teams to come in to play because they know they're getting 4 games now over 2 days, right?
Right.
It just makes it a lot easier. And a complex like Joliet, you could easily handle that. A complex like Schaumburg, you can easily handle those things. Rolling Meadows or Wheeling, easily handle those things. So we have some awesome complexes here, but to your point, we also got to go to Iowa. I got a question up on the screen because we were talking a little bit about fundraising, how to raise money. And this one comes from Jeremy Lafrano, one of your board members. He says, why don't we have all the Hall of Famers pay $100 for their plaques and to keep up with the Hall of Fame for those that can't make the dinner? So if you don't go to the dinner, you got to pay $100 as an entry fee as a fee for the Hall of Fame, which to his point, I think is a pretty cool idea, right? Keeps your plaque updated, think about it. How many members do you have in the Hall of Fame currently today, Paul? I
know there's over 700, including teams, I think.
So
yeah. So
700, last I checked, right? 700 times 100.
Yeah.
Do the math.
It'd make my job a whole lot easier.
What is it, Jim?
70,000, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
and I reach out. We've got a few different people. Part of what we're doing, if you don't mind me just going off here a little bit, is we're doing clinics now as we're talking about building the game. Again, we did a clinic at Washington Park in August. Pretty neat. It was a little tough getting started, but tell you what, once we got going, there was 16 kids. They come out of an at-risk program, and it was tough getting them going. But by the time they were done, they had a ball. They enjoyed it, And we had the DePaul students out at Forest Park in late August, and I've got an 8th grade league that will be playing in May of next year. We've got a group of 8th graders, and then we're working on. There's a bunch of stuff we're working on. Probably a couple indoor clinics over the winter. We may even reach out to you to see if we can do something at an indoor clinic over there where you're at, Jimmy, because I'm getting a lot of feedback from like the Southwest Conference. That's the local conference here in the Catholic schools around our area here, and they all want their kids to play. They want them to learn the game of 16 in softball. It's a $20 ball, and I don't think the kids are going to get that $300 bat yet, but we'll see.
So Paul, we have the event coming up October 26th. Why don't you just give, we have over 60 people watching live right now. So why don't you go ahead and give a little bit of information about maybe how people can purchase tickets, what the event looks like from 5:30 to what time. Just kind of give a little background on it before Donnie gets to his next question.
Okay. So, people don't realize how big an event it is. It's 500 to 600 people A lot of suits, a lot of ties, men and women dresses. There was one year that Hot City All Stars came in. It was Curtis Granderson Senior's team. Well, Curtis Granderson Jr. rented them all black tuxes and fedoras, and there was 20 of them, and they all looked fantastic. So it's a dress up night, and it's we have so actually photographs will start around 4:00 because we have 27 photographs to get in by the time the dinners get going. So people, I have the photograph schedule, and I'll give it to you guys so you know who's going to be there and when. But to join, you go to our website and click on events, and that's where you can purchase the ticket. The tickets are $150 for adults, $90 for children. It's a full bar from 5:30 to 7. The bar is closed during dinner, and then it reopens. And around 8:00, 8:30 is when we start our award ceremony. Steve Cashel is our MC, and he reads a little bio of everybody. I know everybody would like to talk a little more, but we give everybody a 3-minute time limit, But what we've kind of done to offset that in the past couple of years is we have John Canena does his podcast and interviews all the inductees over at the Hall of Fame on his YouTube channel on separate Saturdays. So everybody gets their chance they get a half hour, 40 minutes to tell their whole story. I realize how tough it is if you to shorten it down to 3 minutes, but if we didn't do that, we'd be there for days. And I think everybody understands, and it's just a great event. I mean, it's a celebration of all these people. All their. There's one guy I know for sure. He's got 40 people coming. He's on the Wall of Fame. And it's just people are excited. And so from 4:00 on, from 5:30 is when the bar opens. It's a full meal, always a good meal. The Drury Lane does a great job. We've been there for several years now, and it's a real professional run event. It's not like you're it's not like a secondary, thing. The one thing we always ask, though, and it's tough, is everybody's got to respect the next recipient. Too many times the awards get handed out, and those people who've already gotten their awards are yapping away, and it's taken away from the people who are next in line, and everybody should get their due. That's one of our pet peeves, is that, okay, if you want to talk, go out into the lobby, but let the next person in line get their due. Let them get their respect that they do. This is their night also.
Yeah, you definitely want to be called first. That's all I'm going to say. So, Donnie, go ahead with your next question, man.
Yeah, I've honestly just got one more for you, Paul. You've kind of touched on some stuff just by talking. If you could pick one thing that you are proud of that has evolved since you took over at the Hall of Fame, what would that be? What would something that really stands out as something that Paul Rowan had a hand in the Hall of Fame? And maybe besides the dinner, I know you're probably thinking about the dinner. I mean, that's a great thing. What's something else that you're proud of that you've accomplished?
Well, I think overall, it's for me, it's a respect thing. That I have gotten the respect of a lot of people who maybe didn't know me because I wasn't on all the major teams. I played against them, but I wasn't on all of them. And to me, as an individual accomplishment, that is probably one of my biggest ones. But as a group, I think it's the fact that I've been able to assemble, with the help of everybody else, a good board that everybody jumps in and does their part and knows what their role is here. There's a lot of people who it's not that they're not good fundraisers. don't want to ask. They don't know a lot of people to ask for money,
Right.
and I'm one of those guys that will ask anybody, and I don't mind. I don't mind them saying no.
Right.
You know, I don't mind saying no. You know, if I go in, I got a 50-50 chance of getting something. If I don't ask, my chances go down to 0.
Right.
You know? If I go into a guy and I go to a guy and I ask him for $10,000 and he gives me 500, who wins?
Yeah.
Who wins? Me and the guy who gave me 500, because
That's right.
he's getting his name out and I got something. I didn't walk away empty-handed.
Right.
So
Really quick before I get to the question on the screen, we had a question from Stephen John. He said basically, where is it at? It just moved on me. So if you stay home, is the Hall of Fame being live streamed, the full venue? I know we're going to be handling the pre-interviews before, during the cocktail hour, but is there going to be a full video? I think there is, that comes out after the Hall of Fame that you could watch it, correct?
yeah, it'll come out after. We didn't know because we want people to attend.
Right, exactly.
If we live streamed it, then we'd lose people. But no, we want people to attend. We want them to come see the event, and as many as people as not. We want them to make reservations because on a walk-up basis, we order so many extra meals as it is.
Yeah.
If we go beyond that, then I'm ordering pizza for those guys who walk in late.
Right.
Yeah.
So Adam Olson says, what is the difference between the Wall of Fame and the Hall of Fame?
Well, if you look at it, the Hall of Fame it's one Hall of Fame. The Wall of Fame guys are in the Hall of Fame. It's just that the Wall of Fame guys may not have met the qualifications where they played all the required years at the major level and hit all the accomplishments at the major level. If you want to look, if you go to our website and you click, it's either nominate or vote. I can't remember what it's under. The criteria is all there, and that's the other thing right now is we're in the middle of new nominations for next year's class. So people need to be putting in their bios and everything for next year's class. I think by November 15th is when they have to be in this year. And if you go to the website, it's specific. Don't, how you do it. Don't handwrite it and scan it in and send it to me, because then I got to type it out.
And you won't get in.
No. I tell them I received your form, but you need to follow the directions. It's pretty simple. A Word document and a JPEG, and we're all good.
So I have a great question that I wanted to ask you, and I saved it to the end because before I get to the final question, who was the one inductee over the last 10 years that wrote something that you knew the guy was an incredible player, so you knew absolutely he was getting in, but wrote the smallest bio or the smallest thing that said, you know what, like, this is hysterical, this is really funny, or did a comment that like just was like, man, this one's going to stand out for the next 10 years? Can you share that one player?
Well, I don't know if it was the bio, but it was at the dinner. It was at the dinner, and one of our speakers, I won't name names, went a little long.
You can.
And,
you can rat anybody out on our show.
No, I can't do that. I'll be impeached.
Richie,
I don't know if they impeach volunteers, but
was it Rich Tennessee?
It was the guy who followed this guy, Randy Filkins,
okay,
who deserved the award as much as anybody, and I would have loved to heard him talk. He got up, I handed him his award, shook his hand. He said, "Thank you and good night."
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, and the guy behind him, there was no hook. We had nothing to get him off. We couldn't get him off. And Randy just got up and said, "Thank you very much and good night." And Randy could have spoke forever, because Randy was still is a class act. He's a great ball player. I played with him for a couple of years myself. We had a lot of guys, Hall of Famers, played on our Ringers team.
Nice.
That's good.
So, Paul, You know, we talk a lot about obviously softball on the show. That's what our show's about, right? So my one question that I ask every single guest on the show, okay, is always about our game and what we can make things better, what we can do to change it. So my question basically comes to you is if you were able to change one thing about 16 in softball or bring something new to the game, what would it be?
Well, a couple things. One is, and I mentioned it earlier, don't just care about major softball.
Right.
Let's care about the whole game. Let's not just put the stress on becoming a major player. Let's get everybody into the game. And I think draft tournaments are probably one of the best ways to get younger players and older players and experienced and novice players to play together. And we tried to get it together this year, but definitely next year. I'm working with Jeremy, Nick Mione, Eric Panic, Bobby McClellan, and Billy McClellan, and we're running a draft tournament. I think it's going to be the Saturday a week after at Kennedy Park. $50 a person is what it's going to be. There's going to be no prize money, and I may do a women's division too. The money is all going to go to cancer research, but we used to have those tournaments, and you bring out grills and you get some sponsors. You bring out grills. Everybody's cooking. Everybody hangs around. Nobody's leaving the park, and these young kids get to see, what it's like to play. I mean, I played with Bobby McClellan, one of my first draft tournaments, man, and I was like, holy shit, what am I?
Right.
I don't want to screw up, but then he's helping you out. He's, and that's where it is. We talked about bringing like a Jack Kelly and a Dave Bischoff out as honorable coaches, to kind of help everybody. I think that's one way we can do it. But I've got a 25 and under tournament that I'm running.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That'll probably be the second week in June, and I'm hoping to get that out sooner. But what I'd like to do, probably maybe get you guys involved in maybe in late November, early December. I'd like to get a forum over at maybe when Donnie and Shane get Lawlers opened over there.
Yeah.
There's a big chunk of softball being played on the south side. There's good softball players out there. Yep. They're not going anywhere else. I want to find out how to get them to move. And maybe we just have a forum, get them out there. You guys can stream it or whatever, and they can ask us questions or whatever. But I want to keep the game going, and we've got a few things I'm going to announce at the dinner that I'm really pushing for, and I'm hoping we can get guys who are listening, guys who are still playing, to come and help at these clinics.
Sure.
They don't want. We played at we were at Washington Park, and they don't want to see me. This old guy, helping them out. So I had Wes came out, Travis came out. They all came out, and I said, guys, they're not going to listen to me.
Nope.
I need you to show them. And they talked and they showed them, and they got their attention. And that's what I need. I mean, I don't need me going out to these 18-year-old, 19-year-old guys and saying, here's what it's like, or it used to be like. I need guys that are 26, 27, 28 saying, this is really cool. This is what you can do. And
right.
This is, there's so much our game can do for people, for it can raise money. You just look at the YME tournament has raised over $1 million in 30 years.
Yep.
I mean, and it's softball. It's just softball. And it's people out for one day. They're enjoying the hell out of it, and
sure.
I think our game, we got to figure out what these kids want to do. And I think we've got to, and I'm going to reach out to Dave Butterfield because he's got all the list of everybody. I must have seen on Facebook at least 50 to 60 different parks posted a champion this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of those teams at any of those parks are ever at a tournament.
Yeah.
Hardly
Sure.
any of them. The only ever ones we ever hear are, on the south side, you got Mount Greenwood and Kennedy. You got Washington Park. On the north side, you got Melrose and Forest Park. We don't hear of all those other leagues. So I think we got to reach out and get it out there and get help from people to help us get the noise out there for them.
Yeah. So you brought up two good things. One, I'll touch on the Mount Greenwood thing in a minute, but since we're on the topic of parks and all the different, champions, myself, Mickey Balestri Jr. over the last couple of years been sitting down, and we wanted to have like a park World Series. And what that means is that you take eight parks from the north side, 8 park leagues from the south side, whatever those leagues are that we feel are the some of the better park leagues there is. The winners of those leagues would play in a tournament to crown the park national championship, like national championship in one tournament, right? So, and you can have that tournament the same weekend of Labor Day. You can have that tournament the same weekend of another major tournament that's going on, where now there's more exposure around those park teams. Now I do know that some of the major players play on some of those park teams, and I understand that, and it's tough to figure out those rosters. But maybe you limit it to like Papa Hops, where it's 1 or 2 major players on your team, if it's on their park roster, because every team's usually got to hand a roster in for the park league, right? So
Right.
only the teams on that only the players on that roster can play. You can't pick up other players. So I just think, like, going into the leagues, if the entry fee is, say, $650 to get in, they make it add $50 to it, and that $50 goes to the winner of that league that plays in that final tournament. It's a one-day tournament, and I think we can do something cool. It's just something that's never been thought of or never been even talked about. From what I've heard, I've called a lot of the leagues last year, the year before, just trying to get feedback because I wanted to do it. And I know we can get corporate sponsors. We can do all sorts of stuff. So it'd be really cool. We need the manpower to run that down, right, and figure out how that's going to work. And that would make sense. And then the second thing you mentioned about soft side guys not playing major softball, I've talked to several of those gentlemen, and the biggest thing that I always get back is that why would I want to go play a 4-day tournament when I can play a tournament right in my neighborhood one day and go hang out with everybody and not only that, but a lot of the major guys go and play on the south side too, myself included, and some of the other guys that I play major ball with go play on the south side in some of those tournaments. So
Right.
that's their point, and it's like, why drive all over the place when I can play right here, one-day tournament, and be done? And that's always been my point. It's like, how do we attract them to join the A, the B, or even the major, right? How do we attract them? Well, we have to make changes. We have to adapt, because this culture, Donnie's age, there's just way too many things going on. Facebook, social media.
Yeah, social media is important. 100%.
They know everything that everybody is doing in their life.
Yep.
Because,
Right.
and we, when I was growing up as Donnie's age, yeah, we had like MySpace, we had other things, but it wasn't at the level that it is at today. And it's true. And honestly, that's why you see a lot of these kids that are Donnie's age, they don't want to commit to the 4-day tournaments. They don't want to play multiple times a week and all that. They rather just, if they're going to do it, play in their own neighborhood, one-day tournament. And there's a tournament every weekend in the south side, every weekend, every Saturday. And like, I understand the point. I mean, my only thing against that is that if you're a really good player and you're competitive, don't you want to play the best? But some of them, they don't
want to
really
travel.
care. Yeah.
No, and they, and even some of the teams, I'll tell you, some of the teams as a whole team could go and be very competitive.
Yep.
There's, my son played on a team. There's a team called Mint. They could play anywhere they want. They're a very strong team, but
Very good.
they don't really want to go. There's up and coming teams that are talking about doing things. And I think if we can, get back to get back and start with some of these, let them play themselves. Everybody says, well, why don't you make it a 30 and under or 27 and under? And I said, the first thing I want to do is I don't want an 18-year-old kid playing against a 30-year-old guy who's might be playing major ball already, and he's going to get his ass kicked 20-0 2 games in a row, and he's never going to come back in one of my tournaments again. Let 18 to 25 have their own range, then maybe go to 27, and then you open it up, And one of the other things we were going to do, we tried to do at the end of last year, and I'm working with them, and I think we're going to make it happen, is the winner of Papa Hops will play the winner of Forest Park.
Oh, cool.
And if any of the rostered players on the Papa Hops team are on the winner of Forest Park, they stay on the Papa Hops team.
That's way better. That's a cool idea.
So, and we're going to move it back and forth between Forest Park and Kennedy.
That'd be cool.
Each year. So we're hoping to get that. We tried to do it this year. We were a little late getting it done, but I think I talked to Forest Park and I talked to Liam Hopkins, and he's all for it. So I think certain things, and things you want to do. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah,
we're on the same page. We got to make changes to get people more interested, and how you do it. You gotta. Maybe you bring a tournament here, and okay, it's you create a list of like 4 tournaments, and in order to get the total prize money, you got to play in at least 3 or 4. 2 are on the north side, 2 are on the south side.
Yep. I mean,
that way they at least got to go one time where they're not comfortable.
I mean, Paul, we could say it how it is. It's our show. We have to get everyone to work together. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? I mean, we have to figure a way out. Say what you want, but we all have our ways. Unfortunately, I feel like we're more willing to work with others, and those others are not willing to work with us. And unfortunate, but I think that's going to change. I hope soon. I really do. I hope that we could all work together, because I think that there's going to be some big things coming, and just at the major level. I know, with a lot of the exposure we're getting from the 12-inch game, a lot of the exposure we're getting kind of nationwide now, with softball, and that all trickles downhill. And I know that we talk, to your point, you got to work down here, but when I first started playing, I always looked up here, and when those guys were showing up all the time and they were at every game and they were doing this and doing that, that trickles down to the teams below. Because if the major guys are doing it, the B guys are going to be doing it, okay?
Yeah.
Right now in the major game, what's going on is we don't have the commitment level where it should be for a lot of those major teams. Right. And that's starting to dwindle down into the A, that's starting to dwindle down into the B, and now you're not getting as many people because the younger guys are seeing to the major guys that's not that important. You can miss 3 and 4 tournaments a year and still play in one Papa Hops or still play in Forest Park, and it's okay. So to me, I think it's something that's got to change, and I think that's part of making things different, right?
Right.
The formats will create more urgency for people to show up, or create some excitement, to Donnie's point, playing in different parks. Those are the things that I think is an absolute must, because if not, it's just the same old shit every year, and we're going to keep losing teams every single year at the major level and even at the A level. I mean, we lost Sauce this year. Sauce combined with Hex. We lost, from my understanding, it's going to be on my rumor mill next. I'm going to tell Donnie I have a couple rumor mills tonight, but there's going to be another team combining with another team, and we're going to lose another team. So, there's some, to my point is every year you get teams combining. The reason why they're combining is because the commitment level is not there. And they're taking 5 guys that show up with 6 guys that show up here. And now they're making one team. So But the problem is we're losing teams, and I think that is something that I think needs to change, and those things will make those things better with commitment. So,
right. And that's where it is. I think you get the feedback from these guys that are just getting started, because for one, they'll help out. They're gonna help out because they're excited. The kids I see are still excited. They're excited about the game. They come out, they have fun, and like a couple tournaments I ran this year, we did a home run derby beforehand. And that brought out a little bit more.
right.
And I think if we can reach out to some of these other teams, and again, even do a couple of these draft tournaments a year,
Yep.
so do one north, do one south, and get people together. That's how we're going to grow the interest of the game. Because I know a lot of the kids that are at Kennedy as individuals play on major teams,
Yep.
but not their whole team is going up
Right.
there.
So Paul, this is the part of the show where we ask the guests if whatever questions they have for both Donnie and I, fire away. We're running up on our time, so we just want to, we're trying to shorten our streams down a little bit. We don't want to be on the, for 2 hours, but fire away with some questions in regards to what you have for Donnie and I. And if you don't have any, that's okay too.
Well, if you guys look at it, let me ask you, each of you, what would be the one thing you would improve right now in 16 and softball? What would be the biggest thing that needs improvement that would immediately make an effect on our game right now?
Go ahead, Donnie.
Paul, how much time do you have?
Jimmy might one thing, Donnie. One thing, and somebody asked Eric. It's a Manhattan.
Oh, there you go. I was just going to ask you what you were drinking. That's great. I think Jimmy said it best already on the show. It's our show.
You can't say what Jimmy said. No way, Donnie. You can't say.
But
what
I like that he said there can't be disconnect within the groups. There has to be some sort of affiliation within everybody that's got to say so in the game. As much as that's going to be difficult to mend the relationship, that is what has to happen in order for the game to grow, in my opinion. Because there are some really good opinions out there for guys that have been around, for new guys that don't get looked because it's not their idea, right? That's the biggest thing that I think can be improved. No more this group versus that group. I think we've got people that all have the same mentality of let's grow the game as much as we can. And it's not going to grow if people can't put an ego aside and mend a relationship, in my opinion.
So I got two answers for you.
Oh, boy.
So the first one I've already said, and that's about the tournament format and being different. Having one single elimination, one Yuma style format where it's round robin and single elimination, having one where it's consolation and winners, and then maybe having one where it's just single elimination. So you have 4 different formats. You leave Forest Park the same, you leave Westchester the same. In my opinion, those are the 2 best no glove tournaments there is. You make North-South a round robin style like Yuma, and you make the Melrose tournament a win or a consolation, 1-day tournament in Melrose on a Saturday. And now you got different formats. You make nationals, you leave nationals the same. You have a complex, you got people flying in from all over. You could also make nationals like a Yuma style format as well. So those are the things on the tournament side. On the individual side, we all know, okay, we have to somehow get Tyler, Gio, and Patty Caputo where on our side. And we have to figure out a way to work with them. And I know that they're going to sit there and say, all we do is criticize them and all the bullshit. The thing is they do just as much criticizing on their end, okay, as we do on our end. The problem is they just don't make it public because they don't have a show. And they're, and if they did, that's fine. But all I'm trying to say is that they have to see the writing on the wall. And I think every single player in the game today, I know some of them don't want to admit it, okay? But every single player in the game, I promise you, doesn't want to see the 4-day tournament every single fucking weekend. They want to see something different, okay? And it's fact. And whether they say it or not, I guarantee you 85% of softball, 90% of softball, and that there's going to be maybe 10 or 15% that don't want to say anything because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It's not about hurting people's feelings. It's about improving the game of softball, right? That's why Donnie and I started the show. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're moving forward with what we want to do and what we have planned for the future. I want to give the SSA all opportunities to work with us. There's no reason why they can't work with us. Why Gio can't work with us. Why Patty can't work. Me and Patty have a great relationship. I love Patty to death. Patty will tell you I call him once a week, and I'm due to call him tomorrow. I always call Patty. If it's not once a week, it's once every 2 weeks. I always do. I like Patty, Yeah, it's shitty how the situation went down at Nationals. I get it, but we move forward. And I think that's what we have to do. Like, yeah, I was pissed off that weekend, but you know what? The support of softball, the support of 16-inch, the support of the players, it didn't matter, right? We all moved forward. A majority of those players supported me at my bar, which you don't understand how much support it was. It was awesome. Like I was so appreciative of everything that they all did. But that's why we do this. We're a brotherhood, right? And that's what these guys have to understand is that I'm not here to call Gio an asshole. Yes, I have. But moving forward, okay, like in order for softball to work, we have to work together, whether he likes it or not. And the same thing with Tyler, okay? Yeah, they're going to have good ideas too. There's no reason why Gio can't have a good idea, Tyler can't have a good idea, Pat Caputo. They all have good ideas too. But we can't just have it a one-way street where every time we bring an idea to the table, it just automatically gets shut down. It can't work that way. It just can't. And Donnie and I talked to more players, I promise you, than probably all of softball. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and it's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? Like, we talked to a ton of people in softball because not only because of the show, but because, he plays on a team, I play on some teams, and we've played a long time, right? So they have to start listening, and that's all I'm asking for. I'm not calling them assholes. Yes, I have in the past, sure, and they call me assholes all the time, but I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that, Paul. It's about moving forward, yourself included with that, and let's move forward as one. And you know what? The ASA can still be the ASA. The SSA can still be, at least now they're working together, which is what I like to see. They're not putting tournaments on the same weekend anymore, which was a huge issue for me back in the day. It's like, well, why is the ASA putting tournaments on the same weekend as the SSA or vice versa? Those issues have seemed to kind of work itself out now. And we don't have those issues anymore. So now there's no reason why we can't work together to make softball better.
And I agree. And I agree. And my role is like I told you, is a Hall of Fame. I don't side with either. My goal is that hopefully between what they do and then what we can do as a Hall of Fame with clinics and everything else can tie everything together. So any clinics we run becomes a feeder program for both associations. These kids get to play, it's like, you got a wrestling program. It's a feeder program for a high school. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking, what we can do to grow the game. And you know what? I'm too old to be mad for too long.
We live one.
There's way too much energy. See the smile? That's easy. That pissed off grin, you're like this. That takes too much freaking energy, man.
Well, Paul, I appreciate the question. I hope your answer, hope my answer was heard. Hopefully that we can work these things out and you're a part of it. So I want to say thank you for taking your time out, joining the show. You know what? It was awesome having you on tonight, and we are super excited for October 26th. So thank you so much.
I'm really happy to be on, but I want to throw one more thing out there. See what we could do to get you guys. Why don't we get either a a golf league or a couple tournaments during the winter out at your simulators, or maybe do a traveling league between Birdies over on 111th and your league. Maybe we can get together some guys who know how to run some tournaments, and I think it'd be great to keep guys together all winter long.
That sounds like an awesome idea for Donnie to run. Donnie would be incredible at putting.
I'm thinking. I wasn't You didn't see me pointing. You can't see my hand.
Yeah.
You want something to get done, Paul? Yes, Jimmy.
So, Paul, I appreciate your time, man. We have to get to our rumor mill. Donnie's getting past Donnie's bedtime. So,
all right. All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to having you out there. I think you're going to have a great night. And I'll probably get with you beforehand, show you the floor plan, and we'll figure out where to put you.
That'd be incredible. Thank you so much, Paul.
You're welcome.
All right.
See you guys. Thanks,
you, Paul.
So, Mr. Paul Rowan, how you like that?
Love him, man. It's a good guy. You can tell he loves the game, loves the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I knew he was going to ask that question. I knew he was going to turn it on us. I knew it.
You were ready. You were so ready. Oh, man. Matt Peckus just put, I should have asked Paul when Staples will be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
So I had a question about Staples. And, we're not going to basically I'm in search right now for some videos and footage of Staples.
Yes.
I've asked Staples to come on the show. Obviously, he's declined. But he didn't decline in a negative way. He just said he couldn't work with his schedule, which is fine. It will work, though, over the course of the winter. So I promise you I will get Staples on the show. Okay? Also,
and a skeptical that would be. That's going to be an event.
We have on this show, we're going to bring back Rapid Fire. So I think it's time to come back with Rapid Fire. We've taken a little pause from it. It's time to come back with Rapid Fire. I know Rapid Fire extends the lengths of the show a little bit, but it's a great segment, and it's an awesome time.
In the winter, nobody's got anything going on in their day, right? We're softball guys. We play outside. Really quick, Jim, before we get into Rumor Mill, I did want to talk about a benefit supporting Caitlin Filkins. Was sent over to me. We had a flyer sent my way Sunday, November 3rd. At Buck's Pit Stop. That's in Hodgkins, Illinois. That's a great member of the softball community.
And she does have a GoFundMe page now.
Okay,
so
great.
They started a GoFundMe page. So I
know
they have the event at Buck's that day, but for those that can't make it, get out there and donate for Keith Filkins' daughter. I don't know I know she was diagnosed with some rare form of some type of cancer.
It's called aplastic anemia.
Okay.
It's a rare blood disease that essentially affects your bone marrow.
Okay. So I know it was something serious. So get out there. And she was from what I understand, she's an incredible softball player, which is awesome too. So
it runs in the family there.
And you know what? I actually have hold on. I think I have, now that you brought it up. Yeah, there's just a GoFundMe page that was set up. So I guess you can donate on there as well. You could also attend, and you can contact Diane Rodick at 708-259-3264 in regards to if you can attend. I know if you do attend, they're going to have 50-50 split the pot. They're going to have a 60-inch television. They're going to have Wolf ticket hockey or Wolf hockey ticket. A variety of theme baskets, food, drinks, and stuff. So, Donnie, you and I are actually going to donate something to them. I don't know what that's going to be, but we're going to donate possibly a basket, or we'll do something maybe with those two mugs on the basket as support. I don't know, but either way, we're going to do something nice for them. So, but yeah, it's from 1 to 6 p.m. on November 3rd.
Love it.
So that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because it was on my list, and I not that I would have forgot, but there's a million going through my head. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's get into rumor mill, my man.
Jimmy, what do you got for rumor
So-
mill?
The first rumor mill I had was Mr. Chad Hook. He signed with Stiggy.
Did he?
That's what I heard. I heard Chad Hook is going to be a member of Signature next season.
Well, that would be
Don,
wonderful.
you confirm.
Uh,
Or do we have to call Beethoven?
Get him on the phone. I want Jeff to confirm that. I want Jeff to confirm it. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
I would be happy to hear that Chad made it official. No conversations potentially have been having, but why don't we get Jeff Bigtel as a call in, and then he can neither confirm nor deny that is official.
Well, I heard him talking to Flash, but I just don't see where he's going to fit in with Flash. There's not much room there in that infield. I got to think, from what I heard, he's going to you guys, which is awesome. I do know he's going to eventually come back. I do have some inside information on that, but he's going to come back from Missouri very soon. So to move back here to Illinois. So when he is here, he's going to want to play softball, and he's going to end up on Signature. So
I could truly tell you, Jim, I certainly hope so, because I think he's a very, very, very solid player and helps our team a whole lot. So I don't think it's 100%. As soon as it is, I will let the public world know on the show. But as of right now, I think we're ironing out some details.
Very good. So the next rumor that I have for the softball world, and as I said, it's a complete rumor, but I think it's pretty true. Okay? Unless I wouldn't be saying it. There's some truth behind this. Impact is going to combine with Players Inc.
Oh. Okay. All right, that's good.
And they're going to make a team. And I think they're going to come up with a pretty solid team.
So Impact and then Pete DeGioia, he's not giving up on the Players Inc.
No, Players Inc.'s going to stay around. I'm assuming they're going to go under Players Inc. I think it's going to be an opportunity for them to keep Players Inc. together, which is an awesome thing.
Impact.
Impact. So
Impact. That's really good, Adam. That's clever.
That is clever. Yeah. Impact. That's good.
Impact.
So yeah. So that was a rumor. It was verified with a text. I just don't know if I haven't heard someone tell me that, but I'm saying yes, that is true. That Inc. is going to have a team, and they're going to combine a little bit with some of the Impact guys, which is awesome.
Did the person who texted you about that have a lettuce emoji in his contact information?
Lettuce. No.
He did.
Good. So those were the two major rumors that I heard this week.
Mm-hmm.
I do know, Donnie, you got to have something up your sleeve.
I got Peter. See our guy Peter Corral right there?
Yeah.
Cousin Pete, nephew Peter. He's going to play with Goodwood as well.
Really?
That's a rumor.
Really?
Yes. That's the rumor. Money line, I think we mentioned. They picked up those guys. Also got Brian Ganick, who is Jason Ganick's brother, who used to play a little bit. He's a really good player from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with Eric Mandarino this week, and he said he's had conversations with High Y to potentially go pitch for High Y. I don't know if you heard that one, but he was talking to Trey and Travis and KJ about potentially coming back and not playing for Moneyline next year, but pitching for a whole new team in High Y.
Yeah, he would fit right in over there with High Y. A lot of High Y are aggressive. They play the game hard, and Eric would be a good fit for them, definitely. So,
agreed.
Julian Russell, he is on the move again. I don't know if you heard that.
No way.
So our Where's Waldo started off with the 45s.
Yeah.
Then he went to High Y, right?
Circus for a while.
Circus for a minute, and now Julian Russell, I heard, is staying with the 30-38s.
Ah, damn it! That's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun at all.
Yeah, I know. I will say maybe like BTA.
Somewhere off the I will say, one of the funnier things that at your tournament, actually, Julian said, "Hey, I had like 3 or 4 circus guys reach out to me and say congrats on joining our team." he never joined their team. That's just how much weight this show pushes. We push weight on this show.
Yeah. So, well, that's all I got for rumor mill. You know what? Actually, take that back. I do have a good rumor. Another one. Mickey Balestri Jr. going to Meatball City.
There you go. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. He pitched for them in major nationals. Gave up 8 runs in the first inning. Why not bring him back for another run?
Right. Well, with Joey Carbs exiting and Mikey Marola exiting, Meatball needs a backup, right? They need a guy that can start too. Mickey can still do it at his age. So,
there you go. Well, Jim, that's it for me, my friend.
That's it, my man. We're at the hour and 30-minute mark. It's been a hell of a night. Our boy, Paul Rowan, he showed out. So, and he dropped the big news tonight with us being on the floor. We're going to roll out the red carpet for the
Ink Pact is the comment of the night. That's so clever. Ink Pact.
Oh, by the way, did you order the red carpet that I sent?
The red carpet is en route.
Yes.
See you later, Jimbo. It was a pleasure, my friend.
All right, guys.
See you later, guys.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie Show, episode number 70. We will be back next week, and our guests will be